Kia Chris from NIWA here, recording this on the last day of summer. This is not a summer farewell, but a video to bring you up to speed on Tropical Cyclone Alfred. Let's get to the maps. So here we are just to get our bearings straight. Obviously New Zealand, obviously to the west we have Aussie. Let's put the wind on. Yeah, Tropical Cyclone Alfred. There you can see it. There is the center of circulation. There's actually another tropical cyclone well to the east, but this video is focusing on Alfred. So what we're going to do, we're going to move up to the north and we're going to get a better perspective of Tropical Cyclone Alfred spinning around, not that way, but this way, and kind of just shifting our view a little bit. So Tropical Cyclone Alfred, here are the details. Now, as of this recording, Friday in the afternoon, it's a Category 3 tropical cyclone off the coast of Queensland. Category 3 means severe tropical cyclone, top winds 155 Ks, gusts over 200 kilometers per hour. So, look, severe tropical cyclone, we give it a reason. It's because it's a higher-end tropical cyclone. It was actually Category 4. It's starting to weaken. So, is this going to impact New Zealand? Short answer, it's unknown, unlikely, but you can tell with the upward inflection of my voice there is a bit of uncertainty. So we're going to walk you through the uncertainty. So here we are, 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. You can see the load, the spin, and what we can do, actually, if I put my cursor, you can get an idea of these wind gusts. I mean, this is a model, right? So it's not going to be 100% accurate, but winds over 100K, gust over 170. So, that's a pretty beefy tropical cyclone for sure. I think I saw 180 there if I look carefully. I don't want to get bogged down, but I did see something like 170, 180. Anyway, you get the idea. It's a decent tropical cyclone. How is it going to behave? So again, let's take the data off so we can see. Way down here is the very tip of New Zealand, so Northland, and putting our data back on. How is this going to behave? So this is from the UM. This is just one outcome. I'm using the number 1 very precisely and very deliberately. You'll see why in a moment. So the forecast, by looking at this circulation or airflow, the wind, is to stay off Queensland and basically just sit around. It may move south, but look at this. You'll see at the bottom part of your screen, you'll see these winds from the south come up. You see that? There's a separate weather feature which may influence how this behaves. We'll talk about that in a moment. But basically, for the next several days through the weekend and early into the first few days of March, call it next week, again, recording this on Friday, the 28th of February, it's going to stay well away. That's just one outcome. But what if we considered other outcomes? So we can take that off and we're going to put on what's called the spaghetti plot. Why is it called a spaghetti plot? Well, if I play this through super quick, you can see all these lines that look like spaghetti. So that's kind of the unofficial name we give it. But it sticks and we know what it means. So the forecast, what this is basically is an ensemble. An ensemble basically helps us understand uncertainty, a range of outcomes. It's not binary. Think of 0, 1 to use a coding term. The light is on, the light is off. It's a light dimmer. There's a lot of options between off and on. There's a whole range of options. A lot of gray in life, right? Not a lot of black and white. Yeah, some things are black and white, but a lot of gray, a lot of spectrum. So this is a way of understanding that gray. And each line is basically a potential outcome. Now, this is from the ECMWF. It's called the EPS, the Ensemble Prediction System, if I got it right. And as I move through time, this is let's say mid-late Sunday evening. And let's zoom in just a little bit and shift our view. So here's New Caledonia, here's Queensland, and the forecast is, for the most part, we are expecting the track of Alfred to remain off the coast of Queensland. Now, some take it closer to Queensland, some scenarios, and some keep it farther away. But the bulk of these outcomes are pretty much grouped like so, where I'm pointing. Zooming out just a little bit, as I move through time, it's still away from Aotearoa, New Zealand. So zooming out, again, New Zealand way down here. This is way up there, so it's a long way away. But we can still have impacts even though it's a long way away. Hold on for that. So the expectation is that over the next several days through Tuesday, the 4th of March, this remains well away from New Zealand. That is good news. And probably not going to directly impact Queensland, though we can't entirely rule it out. There are a couple scenarios, or members as we call them, that do come ashore. And there's one member that does take it south into the Tasman Sea, just one. But we can actually have an indirect effect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plop on our pressure map. So what you're looking at here is air pressure, but we're using color. Let me get rid of those ensemble, or what do we call them? Spaghetti plots? They're gone, right? So where you see blue, that's low pressure, and you can see that quite nicely with the tropical cyclone, that big dot of blue. But where you see some red, that's high pressure, and that'll act to shield any moisture or any movement toward New Zealand. So the reason, so you see how we have this high, as I shift gears, this high is underneath the tropical cyclone. That acts like a big rock, and it protects us, it shields us from this moving south. That's why, as I play this, it kind of just moves around. It doesn't really move south because that big high is blocking it. But what can happen is this. Do you see this area of blue I'm pointing to? This is subtle. Let's put on some rain data. You can see, yeah, there's a front. And you can see how the front extends into the Tasman Sea. Remember those wind vectors I was showing you? Let's put them back on. You can see the air coming from the south, then it stops. That's the front, and with that front, we see a bit of rain. Why do I mention this? Well, there is a reality where this area of low pressure, taking off the rain, you can see the blue, it's subtle, but it's there. This area of low pressure, there is a reality where that may tap into some of this tropical moisture and give us some enhanced rainfall next week. It's unlikely. I would describe it as possible but not probable. But it's something we need to watch. In fact, it's very possible, as I continue to put this into motion, this low off to the east will give eastern areas of the North Island some rain. But these two systems, the tropical cyclone and this low or any other system, they need to be close together or close enough so we can siphon some moisture off. And that looks unlikely right now. We are going to have to watch this because the forecast is for this to stay up across the Coral Sea. And if we get another weather system coming across from the south, that may pull this down, the moisture anyway. Maybe that doesn't happen the first week of March. Maybe it happens next weekend. So what I'm trying to say in a very, I guess, clean way, and I'll try to summarize this, I think we're good for the next several days. We do have to watch it. I know our friends at Met Service will be watching this. Obviously, the folks at the Bureau of Meteorology will be watching this. We'll be watching this just to make sure it does what we think, and that is it stays up here across the northern parts of the Tasman Sea and probably the Coral Sea, quite frankly. And any rain that we get is likely to be, and we don't want that, any rain we get is likely to be from, say, a different weather system passing off to our east, which may give us some showers and rain for the eastern part of the North Island and even the upper North Island where we could use the rain. So we'll keep a sharp weather eye on it, but it is worth watching for next week in case things change and we get some extra moisture peeling off from this tropical cyclone Alfred. It is forecast to weaken, irrespective of what happens here in New Zealand, from a Category 3 to a Category 2 over the weekend. So that's it for me. I think overall here in New Zealand looks to be a pretty good weekend. A few showers around Saturday across Auckland and Northland. Maybe just a super quick mention of that. So just looking at the guidance for the entire country. So this is for Saturday. Just super quick, zooming out. So if I go through Saturday, you can see that there will be a front approaching the lower South Island. So Invercargill, Fiordland, you'll get some rain on Saturday, particularly over toward Fiordland. It may take till Saturday afternoon to get rain in Invercargill. Dunedin, you'll get some showers Saturday evening, Saturday night. Maybe a few spits of rain in Auckland and the Coromandel. Isolated showers, not deal breakers. And that front moves north on Sunday. But overall, a warm weekend, a pretty good weekend for much of the country, though that rain over the South Island. We'll keep a sharp eye on the cyclone. In the meantime, that's it for me. We'll see you next time. I'm NEWA forecaster Chris Brandolino. Hope you enjoyed summer. Autumn is here. Namahi Nui.